people have not been straight with each other about how weird these psychedelic experiences are. This stuff is absolutely confounding. It is not sensory distortion. It is not delusion of reference. It is not recovery of traumatic material from the personal past. All of these psychoanalytic models fail utterly because ultimately the psychedelic experience hardly seems to be addressing the personality of the individual. Rather, it is some kind of insight into a tremendum before which we are as helpless as the herders of Africa of 35 millennia ago. We don't understand what it is. We haven't got a clue. We believe in matter, causality, the here and now, the discreteness of objects, the unknowability of the future, and so forth and so on. I mean, it's just a laundry list of wrong-headed notions that you can immediately disabuse yourself with 5 grams of dried mushrooms. I mean, it is the Gordian knot of all of these or it is the sword of Damocles cutting the Gordian knot of these philosophical conundrums. So then we line up on two sides. People who say, well, but it's not natural, and it's it induces psychosis, and so forth and so on. This is all nonsense. This is our birthright. It is profoundly our birthright in the same way that our sexuality is our birthright. The notion that a person would call themselves intelligent and aware and present in the world, and that they would go from the cradle to the grave without ever having a psychedelic experience, is nothing short of obscene. It's absurd. It makes my flesh crawl in the same way that celibacy and virginity make my flesh crawl. What a horrible, horrible waste of a human life. You know, the Muslims used to say of the city Isfahan in Iran at its architectural height that it was half the world. Isfahan is half the world. The psychedelic experience is half the world. If you don't have this under your belt, you don't know what's going on. You haven't got a clue about what's going on. And it's not a big deal. You don't have to sweep up around my ashram for 15 years before I'm going to put the whammy on you. It requires nothing more than a personal act of courage to discover whether or not what I'm saying is true or horseshit. You know, you just have to go and look. And people want to talk about it. They want to argue about it. This is not a philosophy or a theory or a position. This is an experience. It's an experience. And, you know, talking to people who have not taken psychedelics and trying to convince them of the worth of it is like trying to talk a 9-year-old boy out of his aversion to sexuality. You know, he knows that it's a bad thing and should be stayed away from. But we, who have found ourselves by hook or by crook in positions of prominence and influence, cannot have the luxury of this kind of know-nothing attitude. If the expansion of consciousness does not loom large in the history of the human species, then in the future of the human species, then what kind of future is it going to be?